Sure if I'm live yet. I think I'm live. Hold on. I'm gonna grab some water. All right. Hi there. I'm live and I'm back as promised. I'm back a little later. I ended up spending my morning taking care of family and some of our community. So I'm here as promised for part three, and I just went live and like my whole backdrop just fell down, so I had to reset up everything. And now someone's calling my phone. Anyway, so I wanted to give an explanation of a photo that I posted with things that are numbered 1 through 12. And it's my morning regimen, a high energy detox weight release program that I'm embarking on with several people. And now someone else is calling. Oh my gosh. So, anyway, number two of what I take every day is chromium. And so I just actually number two through six, I believe, are all biominerals. And so, as part of my naturopathic doctor education, I took a course called orthomolecular nutrition. And it was through studying that I realized that a lot of the health issues that I dealt with as a 20 something year old were due to basically starving my body. Like I would just not eat. And then I would be out and be like, oh, I feel lightheaded. And so I ended up creating a hypoglycemic condition because I was basically starving my body. So, so I just kind of connected all the dots. So it's so important to make sure that we are getting exactly what we need in regard to nutrition. So oftentimes we're deficient in what we require, and that can leave us susceptible to having low energy, becoming ill, or at worst, premature death. And so Dr. Laila Africa taught us that vitamins energize, while minerals stabilize us. And so the first rule is to do not buy or consume synthetic minerals or vitamins for that matter, because they're made from harmful chemicals that have addictive substances in them. And eventually, those substances, those synthetic substances, can actually drain your body of the nutrients that we're probably already not getting enough of. And then it can alter our pH. And most of us know by now that having an acidic pH can can make us more susceptible to falling ill. And synthetic minerals and vitamins can also alter our body chemistry. So, and sometimes those synthetic chemicals can actually have addictive properties. So instead, it's so important to buy natural, plant based vitamins and minerals. Um, so there are two things about dosage, and I'm going to go into what I take, but I wanted to just give you some basic information on biominerals and vitamins. So, about dosage, there is a serving dosage, which is designed for people that are already healthy, and then there is a therapeutic dosage, which is designed for people who are actually dealing with health crises and illness and disease. So, if you're at all dealing with anxiety, fatigue, stress, poor memory, um, issues with sugar regulations, diabetes, high cholesterol, excess fat on your body, skin issues, and slow healing of injuries, you may be actually chromium deficient. So, chromium. So a little bit about chromium. Chromium is so I'm going to give you the basics, and then I'm going to nerd out for those of you that like really love more information. So I'm just going to give you some basic information about chromium so you'll know what it's for and if you need it or not. And then later I'll just go into extra information that our nerds might love. So chromium is actually a mineral, and it's an essential nutrient required in trace amounts by our bodies. it regulates our manganese levels, which is vital for digestion of food, our nervous system, our brain, blood sugar regulation, bone growth, metabolism, reproductions, and our muscles. Chromium is vital for digestion of protein and glucose while it stabilizes blood sugar. So the particular chromium that I use is great for weight management, heart, and brain health. And this form of it, you can find minerals in tablets and capsules, but this form I love because it's water soluble, it's concentrated, it's ionic, and it's angstrom size, meaning that it's sized in nano parts per billion, so that actually my cells will absorb it. And so that's usually the issue with taking minerals and vitamins, absorption, like actually taking it and your body absorbs it and uses it. So this I use sublingually, and because I use it sublingually, it goes into my bloodstream immediately. So there's no need for it to digest or have any enzyme activity. And everything is completely plant-based, gluten-free, organic, non-GMO, dairy-free, cruelty-free, vegan, and suitable for all diets. What else? So basically, I shake it up every single time, and then because I'm an adult, I'm gonna take 1 full dropper full, which is like 4 milliliters or 44 micrograms of chromium, which is like 3,700% of the daily intake or daily value. And you want to hold it under your tongue for at least 60 seconds. And then swallow. And so really, based on the amount of milligrams, you don't really need to take this every day because it's 3,700% the daily value. So really maybe once a week if you're healthy, if you're dealing with a condition that you need balance, then perhaps taking this daily. But for those of you that are on medications, this will interact, chromium does interact with certain medical medications. And if you take it on a regular basis. So before taking any supplements, definitely check with your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider to make sure that it's not going to interact in an adverse way. So this is actually by HBN Naturals, and I can send you the blog post with a link to it. And that's for Lynette. She asked which brand I use. So for those of you that have gotten enough information, this is the nerd out segment. So I'm actually going to put on my glasses to nerd out a bit. So this is like extra information that you probably never wanted to know. But, you know, for those of you that like information. So dietary reference intakes were developed by the Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences. So a dietary reference intake is the general term for a set of reference values to plan and assess the nutrient intakes of healthy people. Again, you have to make the distinction between healthy people and people who are dealing with health crisis or in health crisis. So there's a serving dosage, and then there is a therapeutic dosage. You're welcome, Lynette. So these values include the RDA you see on this side of on the ingredients of certain foods. RDA is the recommended dietary allowance. And then there is the AI, which is the adequate intake. So the RDA is the average daily intake that meets a nutrient requirement of nearly all, in other words, 97 to 98% of healthy individuals. And AI, adequate intake, is established when there is insufficient research to establish an RDA. So it's generally set at a level that healthy people typically consume. So there was one study done by the Biomedical Research Center at the Louisiana State University, and it found that chromium supplementation effectively helped modulate food intake in healthy, overweight adult women who reported craving carbs. So, after they compared the effects of chromium versus placebo in 42 overweight women over an 8-week period, the group taking 1,000 milligrams of chromium daily experienced reduced food intake, reduced hunger levels, fewer fat cravings, when you're craving potato chips, and a slight decrease in body weight. So, chromium deficiency impairs the body's ability to use glucose to meet its energy needs and raises insulin requirements. It has therefore been suggested that chromium supplements might help to control type 2 diabetes or the glucose and insulin responses in persons at high risk of developing the disease. So in the 60s, chromium was found to correct glucose intolerance and insulin resistance in deficient animals. They did animal testing. So two indicators that the body is failing to properly control blood sugar levels, which are precursors to type 2 diabetes. However, reports of actual chromium deficiency in humans are rare. So 3 hospitalized patients who were fed intravenously showed signs of diabetes and impaired glucose tolerance until chromium was added to their feeding solution. So the chromium added at doses of 150 to 250 micrograms a day for up to 2 weeks corrected their diabetes symptoms. So chromium is routinely added to intravenous solutions, or you can actually take this water-soluble, angstrom-sized, ionic form of chromium. Let's see. Any other nerd out information I have to share with you? Okay, so chromium, if you want to get it naturally, like, you don't have to get this. I use this because it's simple and easy. But you can actually get chromium because it's naturally present in many foods, including brewer's yeast, liver, beef, beets, cane sugar, molasses. I actually take molasses for blackstrap molasses to get more iron, as well as beans. However, most foods provide only a small amount of chromium, and it's the dietary intake cannot reliably be determined because the content that is available in foods is substantially affected by agricultural and manufacturing processes. So also, this is good to know. You will enhance chromium's absorption with vitamin C, as well as vitamin B, which is found in meats, fish, grain products. So if you're gluten-free and you are a vegan, it can actually be more difficult to get your chromium. So any chromium that is absorbed is actually stored in your liver, your spleen, soft tissue, and your bone. And ways that you lose chromium is because you will excrete it through your urine, any infection you have, acute exercise, pregnancy, lactation, and just being under stress or physical trauma. Those can actually lead to chromium loss and deficiency. So that is all that I have to teach you about chromium. I definitely, after learning more about it, found that this is something that I definitely want to keep taking, at least for me, because I'm healthy, once a week. So I hope that helps. I will see you tomorrow to go on to steps 3 of 12 of my morning ritual. So thank you so much, and let me know if you have any questions. Take care.